Welcome! Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different, but super awesome. We are going to do some big batch cooking so that we can get our freezers stacked because they are running very low.
They are running very low, and if you've been with us for a while, you know that we start to get nervous when it is running low. We eat freezer meals just about every day of the week, and so what's really beautiful about that is we never have that 4 o'clock dinner dread of, oh no, what am I making for dinner? Because it's already there in the freezer. We know it's going to be delicious. We know it's healthy and that it's ready for our family. But when we don't have that, we get that feeling just like you do, and we don't like it.
No, and normally Christy and I do mega sessions.
Like mega sessions.
100 meals, 150 meals, 126, 156, whatever, like a lot of meals at one time. And when we do that, we have a lot of variety and we can stack our freezers so that for the next 2 or 3 months, we never have to worry about dinner. But the last time that we did a mega session, we only did 70 meals because we were trying 100% new recipes. So we didn't want to make like a lot of multiples.
Just in case they weren't great. And honestly, out of the 70 meals, I would say only 1 or 2 were ones that were like, meh. The rest, fantastic. And so what's great about that is we're gonna have so many new recipes for you coming up in the Freezer Meals 101 Club, on the website, in our videos. We love having new recipes. The bad news about that was
we ran out of meals so quickly.
It was like a month's worth. So we're like, oh no, we have to do another, like a mega session. And we weren't really ready to do one yet. So we're doing another, like a mini mega session.
Yeah, so what we're doing today is big batch cooking. We are doing recipes that are tried and true. None of these are new. These are all like really loved recipes.
Well-loved recipes.
And what we're doing is making a lot of each one, a minimum of 4 of each recipe, so that we can each go home with 2 of each recipe or more.
Or more.
So that we can just get through until our next mega session, which is coming up pretty quickly actually, but these are gonna tide us over.
So when we're talking big batch cooking, I don't know if you noticed, in front of us here is the biggest bowl that Tupperware makes. She's a beaut. What does it say on the bottom? 10 liters, 42 cups. So 10 liters is kind of similar to 10 quarts. I don't know how many gallons that is. That's a lot. Like this is like almost 3 gallons.
So we are going to be making our corn chowder in here. This, we know from experience, fits 4 recipes of our corn chowder in here, so we can quadruple the recipe and then, divide it into our bags. And then we've got this pot sitting here, and in this one, we're gonna make some red sauce, and we're gonna make that right away so that we can use the red sauce in a couple of our other recipes today. So in order to make this super simple, streamlined, and to make it so that we didn't have a lot of prep and that today we can just get it all done in one day, we don't have to assemble over multiple days, what we did is we chose 2 main proteins. We've got ground beef, and I'm using a veggie beef substitute for my meals, so they will be vegetarian, but with the fake ground beef.
Veggie beef.
Yes, and then we're also doing cooked cubed chicken. So instead of messing around with some raw chicken, some cooked chicken, all the things, we just made prep and our lives simpler by deciding we're doing some cooked cubed chicken recipes.
We have one more protein that you didn't mention. We have paneer. And so if you aren't familiar with paneer, it is a whey product. It is kind of like tofu, but not tofu. It is milk-based.
It's in the cheese family.
It's in the cheese family. So we should really get started.
Yes, let's get going. We're gonna do red sauce first, and then we can use that in other recipes. One thing I forgot to prep is we're gonna need some cooked, cooled rice for some of the meals. So I need to do that right away so that we can get it cooling. In order to cool it, we might spread it out on a baking sheet so there's more surface area and it cools faster. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Join us. We're gonna have a lot of fun and get a lot done in a short amount of time.
So you'll notice that I'm not using the electric one for the teeny tiny Hunt's tomato paste for 2 reasons. One, sometimes they fall off. Like it's actually hard to do it on this one. The second reason is because this is the kind of can opener that lifts it off instead of cuts it, I'm able to use my little skinny spatula and get in there without cutting the edges. And so that's the other reason that I'm doing this way. So it'll be faster that way. But my wrist is getting a little bit sore. So I decided to take a break and tell you about why, and then I can carry on. And now I've given my wrist a break and I only have like 2.5 more to go.
We really appreciate our electric can opener.
We sure do. Canny 3 has hung in there. She's doing great.
I'm going to start with the buffalo chicken dip. What we're going to do is, instead of portioning this out into bags, which we sometimes do, we're going to make it all in a big giant bowl, and then I'm going to divide it. Some of it is going to go into some small foil containers so that those can go directly in the oven. I know buffalo chicken dip is not exactly a meal, but at my house sometimes it can be, like for a movie night, you know, you have that and you have some popcorn and...
Okay, for me, it's usually for breakfast because we'll have it for a party and I'll serve it. And if there's any leftovers in the morning, you still have that hunger for it. And so I have often had it for breakfast.
It's just so good and it's so nice to have on hand. I'm gonna put some in some foil trays. I'm gonna put some in some bags so that they can be dumped into, like, the reason I like the foil trays is if you're going to someone else's house and you're gonna put it in their oven, it's also really tiny so it doesn't take up a lot of space in their oven. But for my house, sometimes I'll dump it from a bag into either a crock pot or like a nicer looking casserole dish and put it in the oven, and then it just looks nicer when you put it out than having it in the foil tray. So we're kind of gonna do like a mix of that today, but I have to tell you that I had a little panic. It wasn't a big panic, it was little, because my Frank's, you see, it's like down to, can you see that? Like nothing in there. And it's a giant container of Frank's. And I was like, I always have Frank's hot sauce.
Always.
So I looked and Christy was like, I think there's some in this pantry. And I found this one, extra hot. That's nice and handy, but look how teeny tiny this is. This is not gonna make a quadruple recipe, which actually is, we're gonna separate it probably into like 8 containers. So that is not gonna work. But this I found, big giant Frank's Red Hot. I am going to add in some of the extra spicy just because I like it extra spicy.
This is where the camera zooms in on Jim's face in the office when he's like, it's happening.
But
I think the way the recipe is written is the perfect amount of spice.
Which is exactly why I'm gonna portion Christy's out first before
she adds it to
I
hers.
take this and add it into the rest of what's in the bowl. Because that way, Christy can have the perfect amount of spice and I can have the perfect amount of spice for me.
Now, don't fear. I will still get to eat hers because, you know, she entertains a lot and this is like kind of a staple.
It's just so easy.
So good.
When you have it on hand, you can pull it out, and then you always have like a hot dip that you can serve your guests or serve yourself. Anyway.
Or have for breakfast.
I like to bring it on ski trips too.
Oh yeah.
This is our cooked cubed chicken. Do you see how giant this bowl is?
How many cups? It's graduated. 24 cups of chicken.
Cups. So we will have, this is not our only recipe, obviously, today with the chicken. So I'm gonna get this started, or actually I'm gonna get it just finished. You're gonna watch us do it, but I'm gonna tell you what's going in here before I do the thing. So we're gonna add our cooked and cubed chicken, then we're gonna do water chestnuts, but I have to tell you about this. Kind of excited. It's not that exciting, but it doesn't take much to make me excited, as you might know. Anyway.
I'll grab one.
Okay. So, you know that we love our onion chopper.
Yeah.
Today we had this idea because we had to, you know, chop the water chestnuts after we drained them.
And they needed 4 cans, so it was going to be a lot, right?
And normally we chop them by hand, of course, because we can. But today, Christy had the idea of putting them through the chopper, and we did.
It was so fast, and they're perfect. They're like these little cubes of water chestnuts, and it's going to make the perfect crunch. Like, we love this recipe, the water chestnuts are perfect in this recipe because it just gives it a little bit of crunch. And yes, it was very fast to do it with the chopper.
And way more fun.
Get to
than
the
doing it with a
chopper.
knife. The chopper. Okay, so after you have your perfectly chopped water chestnuts, then you're going to add some cream cheese, which if you're not me, you're gonna soften it first. I didn't, so I'm gonna actually add this into my bowl and soften it in the microwave before I add all the other things. And then your ranch dressing, so 1 bottle per recipe, so we've got our 4 bottles here. And then your Frank's Red Hot, more than what the recipe says. And some shredded cheddar cheese. Cheddar cheese is another thing that we needed a lot of for today, so I think we did 16 cups.
We did 16 cups, and we aren't sure that we have enough.
Nope,
But I have cheese at my house. I live 2 doors down.
it's all gonna work out.
It'll work out. If we need to go get cheese, we'll go get cheese. No big deal.
Okay, I'm gonna soften these, get this all mixed in, and it's going to be lovely.
I'm still working on the red sauce because this is a beast, and I had to do red sauce math, which is like a little bit tough. And we are skipping the garlic in today's red sauce because some of the meals that we are making, Charlotte is going to be giving away, and they are for somebody who has a garlic allergy. So we are skipping the garlic, and then we'll add the extra garlic into my recipes, and we'll leave it out for Charlotte's recipes. And that's a good way to do it, just like you in the hot sauce.
Exactly. Okay, I actually haven't even started on this chicken dip yet, but I have to put the rice in because my water is boiling, and then I'm just doing a lot of things. All the things.
I'll do the rice. Okay, how many cups of water
Who's
did
gonna
you
do the rice? 12.
Okay, so that's 3 of these. Rice math.
We also have many recipes, not many, but because we're quadrupling at least all of them, it's gonna end up being many, that have cooked rice, like we were saying earlier. And so we've just got the rice going, but the nice thing about any recipe with cooked rice is that they're great for individual portions. So if you wanted to make these and portion them into small containers, you could even use the freezer safe, microwave safe containers. You can find those in the description below in our Amazon shop. Then you can portion them into individual portions. You can have them for yourself if you live on your own. You can have them for lunches if you just need to take lunches to work or have lunches for home. And so we've got the 2 recipes today that we're doing with the rice. Not sure if we're gonna make any of them into single serve. We are flying by the seat of our pants today, if you haven't noticed. So we're gonna make those decisions as we go. We really don't know. We don't know much. But one thing about this freezer session that was so much easier than our mega sessions, like, oh my goodness, so much easier, is that because they're all tried and true recipes, I was able to go into the Freezer Meals 101 Club, create a meal plan for our big batch cooking day, and then print off my shopping list, my prep list. I was able to like change the serving sizes so that if we're quadrupling it, I just times it by 4. And then print off the shopping list and the prep list. So I knew how much ground beef to do. Now, for my particular shopping list, I did have to edit it. There is an edit button. I don't often get to use the club that I invented, to be honest, because usually when we do a mega session, I'm inventing new recipes, and so they are not in the club. But this time, I was able to use it, and so I did find that I could edit the shopping list. I kind of knew that, but had forgotten. And so I was able to take the amount of ground beef and then add a line into that section. And so I just changed the amount of ground beef, and Christy prepped that ground beef, and then I added a line for veggie beef, and I did 2 types of veggie beef. I did Mexican veggie beef and regular veggie beef, depending on the recipe. Like if it's going in chili, it's getting the Mexican. Spaghetti sauce is not getting the Mexican because that That would just be weird.
That would be weird.
Unless it's our taco spaghetti, our one pot taco spaghetti, really good. We're not making it today, but it is really good. Anyway, and so I was able to just edit the list a little bit that way and then just print it off. If you've been considering joining the Freezer Meals 101 Club, now is the time. Once a year, we throw in our mega meal plan bonus. This bonus includes all of our done for you meal plans, and it is worth $400, absolutely free when you join the club now. So go, don't stop, don't wait, do it now. I did have a little bit of help today with my prep. I started my prep yesterday, did a fair bit, had some help with that too. My oldest daughter helped me with that. Usually my middle daughter helps me with prep, but she wasn't feeling well, so she didn't. This morning, I actually got one of my sons to help, and Christy was teaching him how to use the onion chopper. And he did really well, but it was fun.
He did great. Lovely kid, not known for his cooking skills.
No, he's just learning.
I'm happy to contribute. That's great. He did great. So far into this pot, I've got tomato paste. I've got hot water, as hot as you can get it from the tap. That's fine. You don't have to boil it. I've added in parsley, minced onion, which I minced by hand because this was the only thing that required minced onion, and I didn't want to have to like use the little mincer and get it dirty if I didn't need to, and then I did anyway because we did the water chestnuts in it, and that's okay. So I just did it by hand. And then we're skipping the garlic. We've added in a bit of sugar, some salt, some basil, and thyme. And then I'm going to add the big daddies of the tomato sauce and the diced tomatoes. Back in the day, Costco, they haven't had them at our Costco for a while, but Costco would have the big cans of tomato. They probably have them at the business center and we just haven't gone yet. And you just needed one to go, one of the tomatoes and one of the tomato sauce. It's a lot. We're just using smaller cans. I'll open them, dump them in there, and the red sauce is almost done. So hang in there. And we've already been talking about it a little bit. You can find the red sauce in the Freezer Meals 101 Club. So the link for that is down below. The red sauce is done.
So Christy and I were actually saying that because we don't have freezer meals, I actually have not been eating all that well. I mean, I have some freezer meals. I don't want to give you false information because we still do a live cooking class every month with our club members. And so I do have the meals that we've made in that, but it's not as well rounded, right? Because it's not as many meals and not as much variety. So not only have I not had as many freezer meal dinners to have and not a lot to choose from, but I also haven't had leftovers for lunches. And so I am working my way through, we had done some soups, Christy and I'm actually gonna put a video right up there for some soups that we made, really, really good soups. And then we had divided them into super cubes so that they would be, in like 1 cup portions. So I could have them for lunches. And so I have been working my way through those, but you don't wanna eat soup every single day. Like I love soup, but not enough to eat it every day. And then I also have been making grilled cheese for the freezer. And so I'll sometimes take one of those, fry it up, and then maybe I add, sometimes I'll maybe add some luncheon meat, or I add jalapeno slices or pickles, or the ones that are Swiss cheese on rye, I add some grain mustard and sauerkraut on the day that I cook them up. So basically, the bread is already buttered, the cheese is in there, and then it's just kind of a blank slate to do what you want with. So I have been eating a lot of grilled cheese and soup lately, and I never thought I could get sick of those things, but a little bit. I'm not loving them right now. So it'd be really nice to be able to have some lunches.
You could have a quesadilla.
I could. I gave Christy some of my quesadillas today because I was like, apparently I'm the only one in my house who likes quesadillas anymore. They used to be a hot commodity, but my kids must be sick of them. And
They're a pretty hot commodity at my house, so she's like, do you want these quesadillas? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah. So she's taken home my quesadillas. I had like black bean and corn quesadillas. They're really, really good. I had one yesterday for lunch. And then breakfast quesadillas and my buffalo chicken quesadillas. So there's some variety there. But yeah, they're just taking up space in my freezer. And since I'm the only one eating them at the moment, you know, for our live cooking classes, I do have some exciting news to share with you. Now, that has been a club exclusive feature. We started doing them in May or June, I think, around then.
Around then.
And it's something that with your club membership, you get the free cooking class. It's live so that you can cook along with us. You get your shopping list, your prep list, your recipes up ahead, and the printable labels so that you can buy everything you need and then cook with us, and then you can ask questions as we go along. We also show you how to divide them into individual portions if you're cooking for one or two. For most of the recipes, we can do that. And so it's fun.
It's fun. In the beginning, when we first started doing it, I was like, this is gonna be a lot of work. And it is, because prepping and getting ready in the cameras and everything, you have to put makeup on to like make food.
Right.
And so it is a bit of work, but it is so much fun. I actually really look forward to them.
We get to know our club members, and like the chat is what I look forward to.
Right.
And like we just start to like recognize people and have that bit of like community feel, which we both love.
We both love. We both value community highly.
Totally. So it feels like you're in the kitchen with us, which we love. But this is the exciting news. So what we decided recently is that starting this next cooking class, we're going to open it up. So it's still club exclusive. Like it does come free with your...
So you don't like dip your hand into...
Does come free with your club membership still. But if you don't want to join the club, but you do want to come to one of the live cooking classes, we're going to offer them for sale. So you can pay for just a one-time thing where you just want to attend one class. That way, if it works out for you to attend some months and not other months, you can. Now, of course, the club has a lot of other features, and the cooking classes are just sort of like a bonus. So we do suggest you join the club because it's way better. But if you just like are looking to hang out with us and you don't have any interest in joining the club,
come hang out. You have the option.
So we will put the link for that down below. If you're thinking like, I want to come and check out this cooking class, it might be a way for you to see if you like having meals in your freezer. And we kind of think you will.
It is awesome.
Join the club, but if you don't want to join the club, join us for our next cooking class because it'll be just as much fun as they always are. And then you'll get to experience actually getting the meals in your freezer because we don't want you to just watch the videos and think, I could never do that. Because you can. We totally believe in you. I mean, this is not the right time for me to be saying this as I'm like stirring this giant batch
until
of
your arm falls off.
Chicken dip. But honestly, this is not as difficult as I'm making it look today.
Okay, now that I've had my snack, I need to make food. So, which is funny because you always make the spaghetti sauce and the chili because, I mean, we have the recipes, but Charlotte like made these recipes and usually she wings it, right?
Yeah, I do. But the spaghetti sauce we should do last because we're just going to throw in whatever's left of the red sauce.
So I'm going to start with the Spanish rice.
Definitely.
Because that's got a formula that I can follow. And look at that. Can you lift that? Like
is buffalo chicken dip.
Her arms she had to engage her core to lift that up.
It is heavy, actually. Yeah. But this is going to get separated into those foil containers and into some bags. We're going to have buffalo chicken dip for days.
Okay, we are talking, that's rice. We are talking big batch cooking.
Look at that was measured just exactly.
Exactly.
Well, fit more in there.
I'm not kidding. I almost decided to put this in the big purple one, the Tupperware, just to get it done. But I'm like, it'll be okay.
It's going to be okay. It worked.
It worked. Something else I will say is make freezer meals with a friend. It makes everything go by so much faster. And Charlotte and I clearly love each other and we miss each other. We haven't been like hanging out for a while. And it just goes by faster. It makes it way more fun. And you're doubling your work, right? I mean, I did stand here and eat an egg salad sandwich while I watched her work. But, you know, she's going to get a chance to go eat here pretty soon, and that's cool too. So, can I fluff this rice? Can I fluff this rice and keep it in the bowl? I might have to put it in a bowl. Like, good grief. I think I'm gonna. Charlotte, I have to put this in a bowl. I can't fluff it. I can't fluff it in there.
Things you don't anticipate. This is a behind the scenes thing that we're gonna tell you about that really is not that interesting. But, oh, and then I have a funny story for you. But first, the behind the scenes thing. All right, so what was the thing?
I don't know. You're getting trays. You're going to show them a hack that's behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes thing. See, we are best friends. Can you tell?
You were in the other room and I just said, like, make sure you do your freezer meals with a friend. It goes by so much faster and it's so much better.
And when I was in the other room getting these, my son said hi to me and I was like, because I'm like,
you're mic'd.
So whatever you were saying, there's somewhere in the middle of it, there's a hi.
That's okay.
Or a hello or whatever. But anyway, he's great and he didn't realize, of course, because that's not normal for your mom to be mic'd.
We do shut them off when we go to the bathroom.
We do. So the behind the scenes thing I was going to tell you is we film in my house and I have like this kitchen that you see and I have a fridge and freezer in here, a full stand-up freezer, which you've seen before, if you've seen our videos before. And then in the very next room, just right there, I had like a mishmash room. And you might have seen that too, because I also had a stand-up freezer in there, and I had a second fridge in there, and I had sort of a makeshift pantry in there. Because when you have a giant family, like I do, you need a huge pantry. And you need 2 freezers, especially if you live the freezer cooking lifestyle, which I've started calling it.
The freezer cooking lifestyle.
Anyway, and so...
You're so edgy.
Right? And so, that was where we had all the things. But recently we made some changes to our house, recently being a week ago. So we moved everything around, and now everything that was in that room is in a bedroom that used to belong to my son. Now the reason we did that is because the toddler is getting into everything and it was starting to become not that fun.
As toddlers do.
Right, and so this way it can be behind a door and we can close the door. And then he's not going to be getting into all the things. Now, we weren't so worried about him getting into like the fridge and stuff, although he does like to help himself to his yogurt drinks. He just goes and like grabs them out whenever he wants.
He's going to have really good gut health.
Yes. So, you know, at least it's a yogurt drink. It could be like a pop or something, which it's not. He has not discovered pop yet. But anyway, I'm making a short story long here.
I can't imagine.
So, oh look, our very first buffalo chicken dip in a little tiny container. Now I've got 2 sizes of containers. I've got little teeny tiny, which are nice for like if you just want to have a snack and watch a movie and eat it by yourself. Just saying. Or I've got this one, which is a little nicer for, you know, a group.
A group. I think I can only do 2 at a time.
Well,
because it's a hefty recipe.
Unless you want to put it right into the bags. Is it easier to just scoop it into the bags?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay. I was going to do it in here, but okay, I'm going to get out 4 bags. I'm going to roll down the tops. I'm going to do the beef in first. So I'll tell you about this recipe. This is the Spanish rice. We're going to start in our bag with some lean ground beef that's been browned and cooled. I did that at home in my oven. I usually do it in the frying pan, but I did it in the oven this time, and it worked really well. We're adding in minced garlic, some red sauce, voila, cooked rice, voila, and some diced onion, some green pepper, black olives, and then we're going to take some of this cheddar cheese here, put it into a separate bag, into a medium-sized bag, and then we're going to staple them together above the seal so there's no leaky business, and then we can freeze them. So man, we're finally like making recipes. Like, look at, it's, so you want to get all the air out of the bag because air is the enemy. That is what's going to cause your frost. It's going to cause your freezer burn. So you want to get all the air out that you can before you seal it up. That's it.
So now our camera equipment is in there. Toddler cannot break expensive equipment, which is nice and kind of, nice for my brain. However, it means that Christy and I are getting our steps in today because that fridge is where all the prepped ingredients are. So we are like, it is much farther. I would say 3 times as far.
Oh yeah.
So we're getting 3 times the amount of steps in, which is good. It's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining about it, but it's just a change. So that's like a behind the scenes change that's happening. And then because that is also where the new pantry is, it is a pantry, that is also where we're going for all our cans. So it's just we're getting a lot of steps in and it's very healthy for us. Now, I told you I was gonna tell you a bit of a funny story and I am. So
can I interrupt for a quick sec?
Totally.
I'm adding the beef to these bags here. It is quite big and chunky, so I'm being fairly generous because there's a lot of space in there, but because typically a pound of beef is about 2 1/3 cups of once it's cooked, right? So I am being a little bit generous because of the gaps. When it's finer, you fit more in the cup. So it's going in there, that's all I'm saying. Continue with your
2 1/3 cups, and we just keep the measuring cup in the beef when we're making a lot of meals at one time, like we are today.
Yeah, it goes faster, right?
In the onions, which there's a giant bowl of onions over there, it'll be making its appearance shortly, but we do need to maybe clear some space once I get this done. We'll also be putting a 1 cup measuring spoon. So this is my story. In a different video, I made a bunch of pasta dishes. I'll put that video up there because actually 2 of the new pasta inventions were amazing. But I made some little truffle mac and cheese things in these. When I was making them, like I was saying to you, I can't find the lids for these. So I guess I'll just put foil on them and, I guess we're good to go. And then I went to eat one of the truffle mac and cheese, and in the bottom, under the mac and cheese, were the lids. So somehow I scooped it right onto the lids and didn't notice. So anyway, today I knew where to find the lids because of that mistake. So that's my funny story. Y'all can laugh at me. And
I'm laughing. That's awesome and hilarious, and I love it.
I know. Okay, and they're folded, right? And which I wasn't looking for a folded lid, I was looking for a full lid, and I guess my brain just could not conceptualize that it could be different than the other packs I used to buy.
So my mom, best pie maker ever, when she was 15, 16 years old, she went to go work in a logging camp as a cook with her grandma. And so she learned how to big batch cook, let me tell you. And she could make pie. They would make pie every day because it would be part of supper time for these loggers. And when she was older, that's how she met my dad, just saying, it was really cute. So she's famous for her pies, right? But when she started working, she didn't have as much time, when she was working outside the home. And so she decided, we had company coming. She's like, well, I'm going to want to make a lemon meringue pie, but I'll just buy the pie crust. She'd never bought pie crust in her life. She just used literally the recipe on the back of the Tenderflake box. That's how Mom made pie, and it is the best pie crust. Yeah, I will probably hear about it because people like butter pie crusts, but at our house we were a lard pie crust. And so she went to make it, but lemon meringue pie, you cook the curd on the stove and then add it to the shell, and then you put the meringue on and then you toast the meringue. You cook the meringue in your oven and toast just the meringue. So the only time it spends in the oven is to toast the meringue. She did not realize that she had to bake the pie crust.
Oh, okay.
So when she went to serve it, it was totally thawed and very soggy. And she was so embarrassed, because here's my mom, the fantastic cook. Now, I had garlic around here, but I haven't used it yet. Oh, it's over
yeah,
there.
we'll have
It's in
to-
the corner.
So we're keeping track of which is which, and the ones we're making for my friend are not getting garlic in them, and there's no garlic that went in that red sauce recipe, whereas we usually have garlic in there. And so, yeah, we're just being a little bit more careful about that today because of the whole garlic allergy business.
That's the beauty of freezer meals, because you can customize them. Like if you're
Totally.
allergic to something, you just don't put it in, or you substitute. And if you have an allergy, you're used to doing that already. So you just, you make it work for you.
And that's exactly why we have water chestnuts in our buffalo chicken dip, which I'm sure you've never seen before other than us, because usually it calls for celery, but I have a celery allergy. And Christy, being the sweet friend she is, tried to find a workaround for me, because if you just omit the celery and don't replace it with anything, then you don't get the crunch. And the crunch is like one of the best parts
It's
of
the
this
best
dip.
part.
So she figured out that water chestnuts gave you that crunch, even after being frozen and then cooked up and all of that. And so we have been, for like a decade or more, adding water chestnuts into this dip instead of the celery. And it's honestly better. Like, people who have had it with the celery will ask, like, what is this? That is so good. And then they start making theirs with it too. So
Yeah. All right, I'm just being super lazy here and a little bit messy, but that's 4 cups, so she's going in.
okay, these are going in your cooler.
My cooler, which is not a cooler today.
No, it's not. Oh, it's on the back step or front
It's on the
step?
back step.
Well, funny story. No, it snowed.
Oh, that's fine.
So your laundry basket and the quesadillas in it are covered in snow.
That's funny.
Little snow never hurt a freezer meal.
So it is winter in Alberta, and so the nice part is before I take my meals home, usually I put them in a cooler. And the cooler lives in my shop out back, and it was cold this morning, and I didn't want to go in. And my husband bought.
I've never heard you whine before.
I'm gonna take a minute and just whine a bit.
You can whine, but you actually had a whine in your voice, and I'm like, that is not like Christy. But believe me, she's got reason to whine today. So.
We haven't even got to it yet, and we're talking about food, so I didn't really want to bring it up, but we will.
Probably.
Well, I'll keep
a
it.
very Coles Notes version.
So I just didn't want to go into the cold shop. It's not heated, and my husband is a Kijiji guy. Like, as a Craigslist, he likes to buy things secondhand. It's honestly worked out so well for so many reasons that I cannot even complain a little bit about it. I do complain, but I don't whine.
No, you do not usually whine.
So, which is funny, my last name is Wines. No, he bought a garage door that he intended to install this year, but it's a double wide garage door, and it fits in. Right now it's in our shop, and it's all bundled up in a box. But to get to where my cooler is, it's about thigh high, and I have to like climb over it, and then I have to get a ladder and get up on the ladder and get my cooler down.
I don't blame you.
And the last time I was in there, the ladder was on the other side, and I cannot haul that ladder over this giant box that runs the entire length of my shop. So I did not get my cooler. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to use a laundry basket. It's no big deal. The only thing I was really worried about is the cats, because the cooler keeps the cats out. And it's winter, so I'm not really worried about heat and stuff, because it's freezing out.
It's minus
But now
12
it's
degrees
snowing.
Celsius today, which is not. Last week it was minus 24 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but very cold.
Very cold.
I think you can just, if you say very cold, you kind of have it covered.
It's halfway between freezing and minus 40. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. And so today it's actually warmer, but yesterday was above freezing. So it spoiled us a little bit.
It did. We had a
And-
bit of a Chinook.
Tomorrow it's going back to above freezing.
It's going to be quite mild for the rest,
Yes.
the next week or so,
Yes.
which is nice.
So today is actually the perfect day to do freezer meals because, one, if you're going to be inside, it might as well be on a day that it's cold. And two, the meals stay frozen sitting out there. So yeah, we planned this very well.
Totally. Do you know what's really funny? Everything about today is funny. This is the most we are talking during making meals. Like, we're chit-chatting with the camera,
It's true.
it's going to make a totally different kind of video than we normally do because we're doing the cooking like this instead of just, cut to the overhead and read the recipe. And I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to do.
I'm curious. It might be like a very long video.
It's going to be terrible for you to edit because we're chatting in the meantime and you don't know where to cut, like where to stop. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry for you for that.
Tonight. Whoa! That was very close.
That was almost in the recycling.
Woo! I made an executive decision. Instead of putting this into quart-size bags, I'm going to put it into 2 large bags. And then we will have a lot of different options for serving this. Because this can be for like a bigger party, which sometimes we have larger parties. Again, just...
I've made the entire thing and put it in a slow cooker.
Yeah.
But then there's some left over in the morning and I can have it for breakfast. So that's totally part of the plan.
Of course it is.
Okay, the big bags are done. Now I can do my little bags, but I'm gonna seal them up before this one actually does pitch off the end. What's funny is we've been doing this so long, we do actually get very good at making them stand up.
So Christy had this brilliant idea that I could put some aside for myself and have it for my lunch.
Charlotte forgets to eat. She gets busy and then just doesn't get around to it. And then like 3 hours later, she's like, I have a headache, I'm dizzy. I'm just really dragging and I don't know why. But I know why.
Or like my stomach will grumble on camera. Mid-sentence.
Yeah. And so I'm like, no, you eat that now.
So I'm gonna microwave it.
Yeah.
And this one was sort of like not enough to make 2 bags, but too much to make 1 bag. So I made the 1 bag and then put the little bit of leftovers into the bowl for myself. So it kind of worked out perfectly.
So this is the first time we get to do labels. Funny enough, we both finished at the same time for all of the work that we've done so far. We had a club member email us and just say, I love that you have the labels, but what do you do when you don't fill up a whole page and then you have these blank labels at the bottom? What do you do? Could we maybe have a blank label so that we could fill up the first 4 boxes with blank labels and then we could fill in the rest with the labels from the club? Because the labels have the cooking instructions on it. They have a date on it. They have a title, the recipe, everything is there, ready to go. And so I said, I can't do that personally, but we have a tech guy. Let me send it to him and see if we can do that for you. In the meantime, I thought, that is a problem. I make the labels for our freezer meals. And it is a problem that I run into too, because lots of times I have some at the end of the sheet because I will use full sheets, or if we're only doing like a small video where I only need 3 or 4, I have all of these blank ones and they seem to be at the bottom. But here's the funny part. See, this one's been hanging around my house so long it's falling apart. A couple of them are. But here's the funny thing. If you just turn it upside down, whoops, this way, now these are at the top. So that's what I did. I just filled these up so I could use my full sheets because I had all these partial sheets sitting there.
Oh, and I get to take those.
Here's your buffalo chicken dip. And there's 8 of them.
Yes, which I will need because
you will need.
We made so many.
Oh, and there's one over here.
Oh, I might need that.
You might, because I had to do label math.
I forgot to put the ones on yours that are outside, so I'm going to take a sheet with me outside.
And go do it and clear the snow off. Blow, so it'll just... and then I am going to do Spanish rice. And I'm going to write my name on 2 of them.
Right,
So we don't mix them up and get the garlic to your friend. Because I still have to do the cheese for these. I can just give you a halfer.
And go outside.
That's the other nice thing about having the labels is that because all of the cooking instructions are on it and everything, then, if you do have a friend in need, then you can just go to your freezer and pull one out and say, here, have this one. You broke your leg? I'm sorry. Here's something that your kids can put together or, your spouse can put together.
It's super handy. And the friend that I'm giving meals to tonight, she lost her brother a week ago. And so I had just texted her and said, you know, what are your dietary needs? I know that she doesn't do spicy food, so I'm not giving her buffalo chicken dip. Even the not as spicy ones would not be good for her. But I wanted to know, like, if they have other dietary needs, and so she let me know about the garlic thing. And so I'm able to make the Spanish rice without the garlic, give it to her, but again, it's got the instructions on the label, so I don't need to then give her the recipe or text her the instructions or anything. I can just drop them off and here you go. And in the coming days when they're busy making arrangements and all of those things, the last thing you need to do is also worry about what you're gonna do for dinner. So this is really great for me to be able to. Now normally, I don't have to make meals for someone. I can just go kind of shop from my freezer if something like that happens. And so I feel a little bit badly that it's taken me a whole week to get to this, but it is what it is. I didn't have meals to give her.
When I had to make interim meals too because my cupboard was kind of bare. My freezer was running low. And so I had already made a plan to make some meals at home. And right then a call came in from somebody on our football team. They were just having a bit of a tough time and needed some meals, and so as a team we got together and did a bit of a meal train. So it was nice to have that for them, for that family. I was already making them anyway, so, but yes, like you, I couldn't really just go and get them out of my freezer, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna make these anyway, so I'll make extra and give it to this family, and it was good. And I had a friend who had cancer and had to have a surgery, and so, you know, bed rest and recovery and all that stuff, and he's doing fine, but it was like, here's my meals.
Here's your meals. It's so nice.
It is so nice.
We kind of take it for granted because our freezers are usually so full. It always is a good reminder of how kind of non-freezer meal people have to think of every day, like, what are we going to make? And then we have to run to the store and all of those things. And then it makes me appreciate the freezer meals that much more.
And if you're going through a tough time, you don't want to be doing all that. So then you end up not eating or ordering out.
Getting delivery.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
And then you can't.
And that's the last thing you need is more financial stress when you're going through a hard time. So we are moving right along. I'm gonna be doing a chicken asparagus bake. Now you can assemble this right into the bags, but I do find it works better in a giant bowl. And today is batch cooking day.
Today is batch cooking day.
So we're gonna do it in a giant bowl and then I will divide it among the bags. I do think that I'm gonna make probably 3 large bags and 2 or 3 quart size bags, just so that I have some individual portions. Some of my adult kids are now living on their own and they do come around looking for freezer meals.
They do.
And this Sunday I sent one of my daughters off with, you know, like a bag full of individual portion ones. I also send some with my son's girlfriend, like you know how normally people come to their parents' house and they pantry shop?
Or they
My
do
kids,
laundry.
Totally. They have laundry at their places.
No,
so
they
we're
drop
good,
their
but
laundry off
Oh,
and
I
hope
would
that you do it.
never,
No.
So my kids freezer shop here, not so much pantry shop. But anyway.
That's so funny.
So I think I might do that so that I have some of those in there. But so I'm going to work on that. And
I am making the best freezer chili. It is on the website. It is in the club. And I am going to be putting the can opener through its paces, let me tell you, because I have 12 cans, 16 cans really. I have more of the tomato paste, so I did open those already. And these bags get quite full, and it has Charlotte's special ingredient, her secret ingredient, which is maple syrup. And we're Canadian, so it's very fitting, and it doesn't take a lot. You just a little bloop in each of the bags, and it just gives a little bit of sweetness. It cuts the acid in the tomatoes, and it is lovely.
it's a good thing that I own more large bowls than anyone else I know.
It's true. It's true. And when I do freezer meals on my own at my house, I'm like, oh, I wish I had all of Charlotte's bowls. I mean, and for my purposes, I have enough bowls. I've got big bowls.
You can borrow my bowls.
I have
anytime.
totally borrowed Charlotte's bowls before.
Okay, so I'm gonna need a total of, because I'm quadrupling this recipe, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Oh my goodness, my math skills. I'm gonna need a total of 10 cups of our cooked rice, which is now nice and cool, because I did take a little break to eat that buffalo chicken dip. It was delicious. And in the midst of it, my middle daughter came upstairs, and you know, earlier I told you she wasn't feeling well. It's because once every 4 weeks, she goes to the hospital for treatments, and they do make her sick. So it's totally fair that she's not feeling well today. And she came up the stairs, so we were just there 2 nights ago for her treatment. She came up the stairs, and I was like, how are you feeling? And she's like, you know, pretty dizzy, not, like not great. And I was like, you know what'll make you feel better?
Chicken dip.
Buffalo chicken dip. And sure enough.
Oh yeah, she perked right up.
She loves it. It's one of her favorite recipes.
So into this, I had already put the ground beef into the bags before I got on camera here. And mine have real beef. Charlotte has the Mexi beef. And I could put garlic in these ones because they're not going to her friend. And I've added onions and garlic, and now I am adding kidney beans undrained, because that's the fun part of chili. You don't have to rinse and drain. You can just throw it in there, and it's just part of the flavor. And then I'll be adding in chili style beans, which have kidney beans and brown beans, like pinto beans, and it has a really nice chili flavor to it already. So it is a nice one to add in. And if you can't find it, or if you don't have any, you can just use regular brown beans.
Okay, now we're gonna add our chicken breasts. Again, just these cooked cubed chicken.
Pretty full, so I might need help later to get them sorted, to keep them standing, but that's okay. If you don't have help, you can stick it in a juice jug.
I'm right here, so I can like quickly
Yeah.
grab, or yeah, you can totally put it in a juice jug or like a Rubbermaid container. That works really well too. I forgot to chop my asparagus.
Oh yes.
So I'm gonna do that. But for this, you can use asparagus, as the name says, or you can use broccoli. I'm allergic to broccoli. It just sounds today like I am like the most difficult person to cook for, but it's like celery, broccoli, bananas. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It just happens to be that broccoli and celery show up a fair bit in freezer cooking, so we do adapt a lot for that. Anyway, you could use broccoli if you prefer. I'm gonna use frozen asparagus and chop that up, and then we're gonna get that in here, and then we're gonna add in some mushroom soup and cream of chicken soup. So I'll use the can opener when Christy is done, and some shredded cheddar cheese, which we've already got done, some salt, pepper, and then something that we added a few years ago now, maybe 4 years ago now, is a bit of cooked crumbled bacon. We used to make this without the bacon, and it was still good, but the bacon makes it better.
Bacon makes everything better. I think I'm just gonna open these all so that when she needs the can opener, it'll be ready for her. But more than that, I might get to a point where I can only add them into one bag at a time, so I can hold it. So I might do my spices, like I have to put in some cumin and some paprika and stuff. So I think I might put in my spices and the maple syrup now, and then add my cans in one at a time and zip it up, so I don't have to like try to balance 4 bags.
Good plan.
And then I said I'll be done this, and you can have the can opener.
Oh, I'm sure I'll still be
You're
chopping asparagus over here.
Yeah.
I really want to watch Anne of Green Gables because
time.
it used to come out at Christmas.
If you haven't seen Charlotte's shirt today, it says, "What I said about you was true, only I shouldn't have said it out loud." And Anne says that to Mrs. Rachel Lynde when she is apologizing to her for saying, "What? You're fat and ugly and a sour old gossip."
Yes,
And you have to put the foot stomp in there and then run away because you're embarrassed.
Yes. And so at, around this time of year, like it used to come out on Canadian television.
Yeah.
And then when it came onto, I'm going to date myself here, but when it came onto VHS, I bought them. And then when it came onto DVD, I bought them. And now I don't have a DVD player, so I have the movies, but I have no way of playing them. So I was just thinking today, like, I need to find if you can stream them somewhere, or I would buy them again because I love them.
You can play
that
them on the
much.
PlayStation. Or you could really sweet talk your husband into moving the PlayStation up here for the week.
Right, so that I could watch.
Because how
Anne of Green
often is he
Gables.
going downstairs and playing the PlayStation?
Never.
See, Christy is solving problems
She is-
all day long.
Like, life-changing problems here.
Okay, last night at my son's Christmas concert,
He had a band Christmas
he had a band
concert.
Christmas concert. He plays the trombone. He maybe sometime last week, the band teacher handed out their shirts, and so his had a stain on it because last year's kid didn't get it washed out. And so I took some time and I scrubbed it out and I bleached it and I ironed it all up, and he looked pretty spiffy. But then you looked around the room and there's a lot of kids wearing some wrinkly shirts. And, if I'd have realized, some of them, maybe they don't have an iron at home, or maybe they have nobody at home to show them how to iron. And so that's a real possibility. And there were a few kids that me and the other moms were like, oh, I wish I'd have just offered to take that kid's iron home or his shirt home and iron it. So I did go and talk, there's 2 boys, and I said, boys, I'm gonna tell you something about ironing. You don't have to have an iron. But if you take a washcloth and make it really damp, kind of damp, and put it in your dryer with your shirt and then turn it on, it will have enough air and steam to relax some of those wrinkles, so you don't look like that you put that in your boot to bring it home. And they did not want to hear it. It was really funny, and they were very polite, and they stood there and said, yes, Mrs. Wines, it's a great idea, and they just walked away. And I thought,
And I'm sure they will come to the next concert with equally wrinkly shirts.
it doesn't matter. It was so funny. And once they're up there and they have their instruments and they're behind their bandstands, it doesn't matter. You can't tell. It really doesn't matter. But they wanted to know, but they're all like, okay, thank you. And I just thought, oh my goodness, I am my mom's daughter.
Isn't that so true?
It's so true. Okay, I'm doing this backwards now. So I did the maple syrup. I'm going to put the pepper in.
Where I think I'm my mom's daughter is like if I'm like dancing in public and my kids are around and their eyes are rolling.
Oh yeah, your mom.
And that's so my mom. So
Okay, the funniest thing
there
was
are worse things you could do.
at your daughter's wedding, your husband came in at the end and said, Charlotte, your mom is just living her best life. She is floating around that wedding like a garden nymph. Like
She was.
she was, and I love it because she's a little bit hippie anyways, like because she's artsy and she's open
And
she
she's
goes-
very young for her age.
very young for her age,
yeah.
and she goes to drum circles and she meditates and she's a bit of a hippie.
Yeah.
And she was floating around that wedding like a garden nymph, and he couldn't have nailed it better. She's wonderful, but dancing, you're
Not
right.
only was she floating around that wedding like a garden nymph, but it was at the end of the wedding, and so she was cleaning up because she loves to help people. So she was flitting from table to table, cleaning up like a garden nymph. So it
As
was quite
she's
her.
dancing around.
Yep,
My husband's mom is like that too. It's so funny.
it was awesome.
It was. Okay, pepper, half teaspoon paprika. Can she do it?
So this is our chicken asparagus bake with the bacon. It's got the rice, and so everything you need is already cooked. The rice is cooked, the chicken's cooked, so it's just a really easy reheat on the day you're gonna make it. Yay!
Yay! And it's so good.
It is good. It's better now because of the bacon.
Yes, it is.
I need to get the spatula again because I need to scoop it in the things.
Oh yeah. It's very pretty in the bowl though.
And the purple bowl makes it prettier. I didn't do that on purpose. I did that because I was out of white bowls.
I see you, girl.
Christy ran home to drop off her meals, and I am finished the chicken asparagus bake with the bacon and gonna do something with the rest of the ground beef. We are planning to do spaghetti sauce, so I've got my veggie beef and I've got Christy's ground beef. When we were purchasing the ground beef, it made more sense to buy a little bit more because then we could buy it in bulk, and it just works out to be so much less money if you do it that way. So we did know that we were gonna end up with some extra. I think what we're gonna do, because I have extra Mexican veggie beef but not regular veggie beef, is I think we're going to make that into just simple taco meat. That way we can like get it done. I'm just gonna measure out some of the beef for Christy's taco meat, and then I'm actually just gonna mix this spaghetti in the rest of her beef and the rest of my veggie beef. It's just the easiest possible way to do it that way. Everything is like supersized today. Giant thing of onions, giant thing of red sauce, the giant thing of rice that now is not so giant, the giant thing of cooked cube chicken. It's all giant, like supersized. So that is making it easier to make a lot of meals at once. We already have 21 meals done, and we got off to such a late start. So I'm hoping that we can get even more done and just like things will snowball, because that's really what happens with freezer meals, is like once you get going, you get faster and faster, and when you like get down to the end here of some of your proteins, you can just, like I said, mix it right in here, and that's gonna make it just, again, just go so much faster. So let's get going on the spaghetti sauce. For this, most of the things are already in the red sauce. It's already been made, but we don't have the garlic in there. So we're gonna add the garlic into these containers. Then we're gonna add some green pepper, some chopped onion, and that is it other than the red sauce, because the red sauce has so much like depth of flavor already mixed in here. It's the perfect base for our spaghetti sauce. So we'll have our meat, onions, garlic, green pepper, red sauce. That's it, that's all. We're gonna get those into the freezer, and we'll have even more meals made. This would probably be easier, this part, if I had Christy here, but hopefully I do not have an accident and dump this everywhere, but if I do, I apologize in advance. Woo, that's very splashy. Oh my goodness. I'm splashing this everywhere. Okay, maybe there's a better way. I'm going to spoon it gently. It's all good, because I'm gonna need to dirty this ladle anyway, so that we can get it ladled into bags. So I might as well dirty it now rather than dirty my counter as I did, and my shirt and my arm and my watch strap and all the things. All right. Christy's is a little bit awkward because it's a rectangle container, so it might be a little harder to stir, so I'll do that one last. Dumping it would have been easier. It's just, I think because I'm short, I just did not do very well with the whole angle of it. But I actually have an extra pound of veggie beef in mine. So I'm gonna do an extra, not gonna do an extra full bag. I'm gonna do a few of the extra quart size bags and have them on hand for my kids.
I've been watching you across the room.
I can see you staring, baby. I've been watching you too.
And darling, you've been giving.
People ask us fairly often, how do you stack them so flat? Do you freeze them flat on cookie sheets? No, we don't. We literally just put them one on top of the other, and if you're careful and you're not stacking like 8 at once, they just lay flat like that and they will freeze. You just have to be careful. But the one thing, the other question people ask is, how do you prevent them from sticking together? And some people like to put parchment paper in between, or paper towel, or like they have this whole laundry list of ways to stop them from sticking together, and I'm going to tell you the number one way. Dry them. If they are at all wet, they will stick. And if they are completely dry, they will not stick. Or if they do, it's minimal. It's just a little, and they are apart. So when I got home, because I don't have my cooler today with a lid, it's in my open laundry basket, because today is just the day of days.
And it's snowing like crazy
and it's snowing like
outside.
crazy. Mine were wet. So
From the snow.
from the snow. So I'm standing in my garage because that's my freezer that I use is in my garage. And so I'm wiping them on my apron. I'm like,
You gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
but they are dry and they are in the freezer. So that was kind of funny.
That will prevent the sticking together and also, you know, you save time that way.
You do.
Because you
And you
had
know-
your apron, it was right there.
You know how I've said before, we end up doing freezer meals through all kinds of crises.
Uh-huh.
And today was no different. And this morning,
Oh, and it's usually me.
and it's
so-
well, I'm always the one that ends up having to leave for some reason. You are more consistent at being here, but
I'm more consistent in the crisis.
but you are way more consistent in the regular everyday crisis. Charlotte has them regularly every day.
A few this week, but none today.
None today. My crises today, I had two. One was I woke up this morning and my son, actually I just got out of the shower and my son texted me and said, I feel like I'm going to throw up. He said, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And over the last little while, it has been happening where in the morning he's been throwing up. So, and just once, and then he seems to feel better and he's not sick. Like it's not like he's got a flu or anything. So I'm gonna have to make a doctor's appointment because it's becoming a thing. And so then he texted and was like, I threw up. And I'm like, okay. So I went and talked to him and he's 14, he's almost 15. He's almost 15 years old.
That's
crazy.
unbelievable, but yes.
And I said, you know, I don't know why this is happening. So I had Googled it and it could be, you know, it could be emotional. Like, are you having anxiety? Are you getting bullied? Are you depressed at all? And none of those things make sense to me because he's a kind boy. He has nice friends. He does okay in school. He is involved.
The teachers like
the
him.
teachers love him. He's a nice boy and he's a good kid. And he plays football and he plays volleyball. Like
And he's in band.
do I dare say he's kind of popular? Like he might be.
Well, he
It's all-
definitely has a solid group of friends.
And he has a solid group of friends, but they all kind of seem to be the misfits, but they're tight. They're good kids. So it's unlikely that he's getting like bullied or he doesn't seem depressed. So but you gently talk about these things, right? Here's life lessons with Christy, right? Like throw your shirt in the dryer with a wet washcloth. No, and I will get to the corn chowder, but I am not done talking about my crises. And so it happens where he's like, I'm fine. He said, okay, then the other thing is it's going to be food related. So maybe you are eating something that's disagreeing with you. Maybe you're eating greasy food. Maybe you're too much sugar or too much, maybe you're not eating the best foods. And we have snacks in our house. And when you are a 14-year-old boy, they're an easy go-to. And so I don't want to be the kind of person that limits the food. I want him to be the kind of person that makes better decisions, right? And to learn how to do that for himself. So I'm like, then we have to talk about that. So then we can talk about those kinds of things. So we just had this nice conversation. I said, bud, I'm going to send you to school because you will feel better later in the day. You always seem to. So I'm going to send you to school and you're going to have to tough it out. And if you feel crappy later, I'll come and get you. And then I'm downstairs. My daughter drives to school because she has a car and she's 16 and she's awesome, actually. So she drives him normally and they're getting ready to go to school. And he had been in the garage and came into the kitchen in tears because he had slammed his fingers in the garage door. I don't mean to laugh. 3 fingers. The nails are already turning black, and he is sitting on the chair just crying and starting to cough. And
From all the crying.
And he's a bit of a puker. Like his
gag reflex.
is strong.
Gag reflex is strong
He's
with
got
that
a
one.
strong gag reflex, even since he was a baby. And I could see that it was going to happen. And I'm like, run! So he runs to the bathroom, throws up everywhere. He throws up all over my bathroom. If there is a surface, it has barf on it. And I'm sorry to talk about that in a food video. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess you don't have to go to school now if this is what you're, if you're this
He
serious.
got out of going to school.
And I don't think it was a ploy at all. So I was late because I was cleaning. So I texted Charla. She had texted me already and like, I'm running late because of this and the toddler. And I'm like, I'm running late because of this and my not toddler, but it looks like a toddler was here. And so that was fine. He's been at home today and he's feeling better and he's looking good. I was just at home to drop off meals. But 20 minutes ago, my daughter phones. I'm using my phone today for filming, so no phone calls are coming through. She called my husband at work and he wasn't answering because he's in meetings. And so she phoned Charlotte's daughter. And she comes downstairs and she comes upstairs and she's got her phone and she's like, it's your daughter. And it's very icy here. Like we've mentioned it a couple of times. It's snowy, it's freezing rain. It's not a nice day out. And she slid through an intersection in the car. And she was pretty much having a panic attack because
she did not hit anyone.
She didn't hit anybody, and nobody hit her, but it was a red light. And she's like, I was going 20 under, like, because I knew it was icy, and it just went and went and went, and I couldn't stop, and there was nothing I could do. So I honked my horn and hoped for the best. But she had kind of
Oh, that was smart to honk her
It was
horn.
smart, yeah.
That's
I thought she did
showing
well.
some.
But she's worried she's going to get like a photo radar ticket, and it's her first year driving. So of course, winter driving is tricky for seasoned drivers, let alone your first year. And she had already had like gone through not through an intersection, but she skidded around a corner. It was icy, and she had to have a repair on her car because she bumped a curb. So she's already feeling less confident because it's winter, and then this happened. So she phoned in a panic, and so I had to take care of that. And so when I went home, she had just gotten home. We had to have a little talk about her driving, and she's feeling better. And it wasn't her fault. It is really slippery out.
And she's a good driver.
She is a good driver, but it knocked her confidence a bit, and so she's not feeling good. So,
and you need to probably get her out driving
sooner than later.
Yeah.
Like I might actually see if my husband will take her tonight to, practice some of those things. Like she relies on her ABS brakes, but maybe it's good to practice the threshold braking and things like that. So anyway, that's been my day.
And never a dull moment around here.
And then I walked in the door and Charlotte's like, I don't have any prep done.
Exactly. And well, I had the chicken
Okay,
cooked in
hang on.
cubes.
This one's mine. This one's yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had the Mexican veggie beef brown, but not
Totally.
the regular veggie beef.
But we're chopping onions, shredding cheese.
It was just, because like I said, I was trying to let my daughter, who loves to do it, but then she ended up, not feeling well. So it was all hands on deck.
Yeah, it was.
So that we could get it done. And, actually, in my life, it's been a pretty quiet day as days go around here because, there's lots of people home. But it's been a pretty quiet day. However, I had one son that went to the doctor, and so he phoned. You might see it on B-roll that my husband was in here holding the phone on speaker because he needed to talk to me because the doctor was asking him questions that he didn't quite know. He's 22, so he's at that stage where, you go to the doctor by yourself. But you might need your mom to clarify some things about your history. And it's a new doctor that hasn't seen him before. So that's fair. And then I was on another call, which you also might have seen, because my daughter that I sent freezer meals with on the weekend was calling me to say, how do I cook the lazy chicken parmesan? And so I'm glad she's
didn't have a
using
label.
it. It did not have a label. It had a handwritten, lazy chicken parmesan on the lid because it was one of those little foil containers that can go right in the oven. But I had not thought to write oven 350, 20 minutes on there. So, or maybe it's oven 375, 15 minutes, but whatever. Either one will get
the
her
idea.
there.
Yeah.
And so I was giving her those instructions, and that's kind of what put it in my head, hey, I should make some little tiny spaghetti sauces that I can send with her. And she's asked me if I can do some freezer meals with her where I walk her through every step because she's watched me, but she wants to actually come and get the groceries with me. I sat with her the other day in the club because she has a club membership. That's a perk of being my kid.
My son has already asked for one, and my daughter might never cook a full meal in her life. So.
Right. So, she might not need one, but if she wants one,
She's got it.
I can hook her up. we sat down and we made a special meal plan just for her. She chose the recipes, and we're gonna go grocery shopping at some point in the next few weeks here. And I'm gonna walk her through like every step. I did show her what the prep list is like, but I'm gonna walk her through, do the prep with her, and then she'll be able to do it more on her own. But in the meantime, I'm hooking her up with some meals. Because when you first move out on your own, it's like your first time living on your own, you need some help with those things.
You do, just like you need a little bit of mom's help going to the doctor.
Totally.
Or you phone your mom when you almost have an accident.
Exactly.
You know, there'll be a point where she won't phone me in tears because she slid through an intersection.
She'll phone you later and be like, oh, this happened today. And yeah.
Normally on a mega session, we have Charlotte's mom helping us, and she does dishes for us, which is like the biggest blessing ever because we use a lot of dishes. I don't know if you understand.
Normally, we assemble, like I would say 80 to 90% of our meals directly into the bags. So we're not dirtying bowls.
Right.
Other than maybe the red sauce and the corn chowder, we pretty much do everything in bags. But today, because of just the way we're doing it,
The big bag.
using these bowls for everything. So my sink is like full. We've
Of
run the
giant
dishwasher
bowls.
twice already. I have to empty it and get it running again. But it's just the nature of things. We have 27 meals done,
And 8 more to go.
and you're working on
more than that.
4
This will be
there,
4 more.
And
Then we have the paneer.
I have lost track. That would be 35, 39. And then I have a little bit, and then, oh my goodness, we're gonna end up with a lot more than I intended because we were doing taco meat.
Yeah.
And then I've got some cooked cube chicken left, and I have a plan in my head. So,
Do we still have some cheese left?
tiny bit.
A little bit for the taco meat.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so I am making the corn chowder. We love, love, love this recipe to the point where there have been times where we've made 8 of these so that we each have 4 in our freezers because we love it that much. And it's for a chowder, it's very light. There's no potatoes in it. It is very simple to put together because it's just cans. We have a little bit of bacon and a little bit of chopped onion. And actually, I was saying to Charlotte, I should have brought my son back with me because he loves to run the can opener because really, it's a power tool. That's how I sell it. And he likes that. So what I'm putting in here, I mentioned the bacon and the onion already. I'm going to be adding in cream corn, kernel corn, cream of mushroom soup, and evaporated milk times 4. So everything is going in here, and then there'll be some chicken broth. So this sucker is going to be pretty full. And then we scoop that. I use my 4-inch cup, measuring cup, and I scoop that into the bags, and it seems to work. We've been making this a long time, so we kind of have a bit of a formula for that, and it's good. This one it's a nice summer soup, it's a nice winter soup, it's a good spring or fall soup, and we like to have it with like baking powder biscuits or cornbread. It's really good.
Giving off some serious air.
More bowls.
More bowls. Good thing Charlotte has lots of bowls. You have an absurd amount of bowls, but it's been very handy all these years. We always tell people that you don't need a ton of things to get started with freezer meals. You just need what you would normally make. Because most people, we tell to just start by doubling your dinner. If you're going to make it once, make 2. It doesn't take that much more time to chop a second onion and to open up a bag, put one in your pot, one into your bag, and then put that in your freezer, right? And then you have a dinner for another day. If you do that regularly, you will always have freezer meals happening. She's trying to very quietly unload the dishwasher. It's very funny. And that is the easiest way, is to double your dinner. But when we do it, because we do the mega session, we need these giant bowls because it is batch cooking at its biggest.
Yes, that is a true story.
Yeah.
Christy always brings her measuring cups so that we have double the amount of measuring cups, which comes in very handy.
And both of us were on a really big Pampered Chef kick for a really long time, and so we have a lot of matching stuff. So sometimes I don't know if I'm going home with mine or hers. It doesn't matter because it'll end up back here anyway at some point. And pretty much the same. Okay, because we have matching spatulas, I put W's on mine, so I go home with them. I don't know why it matters for those, because I don't know how many you have and how many, but I have a lot. So I don't want to take hers home and leave her with nothing.
I don't have very many.
You don't have very many, so I put a W on them for my last name, and I can keep track. And that way, if I feel like I'm down a few, I can come and look in her drawers and be like, oh, there they are. Okay, that's fine. As long as I know where they are.
If you haven't noticed, we're pretty comfortable in each other's houses.
We completely are. Ooh, do you know what I got yesterday? We ran into each other yesterday at the grocery store, which is really funny because we see each other all the time, and then to see each other at the grocery store is it's funny.
It was because it was 15% off day.
Yes.
And so, of course, we were there getting the things for today.
Yeah.
Because we're smart like that.
I still have a street chicken tacos freezer meal at home.
Oh.
And I haven't made
so
it
yummy.
because I haven't had cabbage for a while, and I like to shred my cabbage to go on it. And every time I think I'm gonna make it, I'm like, oh no, wait, I have to get my cabbage. So yesterday I was like in the line, and I had half my cart onto the thing, and the other lady was paying. I'm like, I have time. I have to go back and get my cabbage. So I went and got a cabbage, and there was a man standing there who was like looking over the cabbage, like inspecting, and I'm like, I gotta go.
Anyone will do.
I can only hope you're feeling me.
For the extra ground beef, the reason I decided to make taco meat, because I was kind of debating between taco meat and sloppy joes, is because I had the Mexican veggie beef left over. So we're just putting the taco seasoning, some tomato sauce, some onion. It's supposed to be minced onion, but today it's diced onion because that's what we have. And we're gonna put some chili sauce. And then the thing that makes our taco meat a little bit unique is that we also put shredded cheddar cheese in there. And I probably don't have as much as it calls for, but we'll just use what we have. Done is better than perfect, as we always say. And so these are just going to be great to have on hand because of course you can make them into tacos, but you can also make them, you can put the taco meat on your nachos, you can do a taco salad, or you can stir this. One of the things I really like to do is stir it into some cooked pasta, and then you throw some cheese on top, green onions, tomatoes, those kind of things, like anything you'd put on a taco. You can top it with that after you bake it in the oven, and then you kind of have like a taco pasta thing. So there's really like 3 or 4 things you can do with this, making it very versatile. And I know that like taco seasoning is pretty easy to make, as it were, but this way you don't have to make sure that you've got ground beef on hand, you don't have to go to the store, you don't have to brown the beef because it's already browned.
Be generous with the onions.
We have so many onions left over. Sometimes onions are giant.
Yeah, and we did less than
Because they were so giant.
they were so big. And we measure about 1 cup per onion, so it's consistent. Right? This is the messy part, so wish me luck. I won't slop it on myself.
Unlike
I hope.
Did you put the chicken broth in there?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks less full than usual.
No, I think this is about right. It's when it was, we used to do this one in the
Oh yeah,
in
and
your
it was
tin,
right
and it was right to the rim.
to the rim,
Kind
yeah.
of like the red sauce.
Yep.
No, I think this is about right.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I do 2 of these scoops plus like another half cup to a cup. Fits into each one of these bags, and then if I have to even them out a little bit, but they're within a cup of each other, I feel good about that. So
Because I did not have enough cheese, I am using a
your very
habanero
special habanero
blend,
cheese,
which is going in Christie's. So
a little spicy.
hopefully it won't be too spicy for their family. But anyway,
We'll survive. Oh, I spilled. I'm gonna have to dry it off, but that's okay. That is okay. And this was the crispiest bacon that we've probably had in a while. And the nice thing about using it in a soup is that it mellows out, right?
okay, so we're gonna add our chili sauce. Now, I'm at the point in the day, actually, for me, it's kind of every point in the day, but I don't necessarily measure. I just kind of eyeball. And right now, we're racing to beat the clock so that we can finish this before the toddler gets home. Because very difficult to film, like have the tripods. Not only is it impossible to keep him quiet, which is totally fair. He's sweet, but he doesn't understand like quiet on the set. It is also difficult to keep him away from knocking over tripods and things like that. So we are racing to beat the clock, and
We're in the home stretch.
oh yeah,
We're doing great.
We're done almost all the meals we had planned. Well, we're done, like after this, we're done the meals we had planned, and then we're just working on meals that we've sort of added today, just for fun.
Yes, meals just for fun. This is, at this point, if it was a true mega session, I would hate to hear those words. And Charlotte's like, oh no, we're gonna make like 6 more meals with all of our leftovers. And that's where I start to complain, but today wasn't so bad because it's only one day. And I was laughing at your meals for fun.
And we started at like noon, so
Yeah, well, there's no complaining.
no. And we don't have to do this again tomorrow.
We do not, which is the most exciting part. And we have meals again. Yay! I want to sing about it. It's like Beauty and the Beast when I'm human again, we'll have meals again.
It's kind of true.
Kind of true.
And you and I are going to be texting each other like, oh my goodness, it's so nice to have meals done.
I haven't had Spanish rice for so long. It's so good.
We haven't made that in a long time.
Yeah.
We haven't made a few of these in a long time. You know what we haven't made in forever is the ground beef stroganoff.
No, I made some in my little mini session that I had. Okay, here's what's funny. I made 2, and then that day, like my husband, I don't know what we were doing, but I had a little bit left over. I'm like, well, I'll make it again, and I'll make that. So I made the ground beef stroganoff from scratch. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Kathy's lazy rouladen. But I want to say I made the ground beef stroganoff from scratch another day because I had all the stuff still.
Well, I'm thinking for our next mega session, like I do have some meals planned that are brand new, like just experiments.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe we should do some of our very OGs.
Yeah, definitely. Because we missed them, right? We had that one mini mega session where it was 70 new meals, so 35, but still, we'd never had them before, and you start to kind of yearn for your favorites, and that's fair.
I really have
We do it for you.
Yes, we're always on the lookout for new recipes for you. I have been wanting to do Mediterranean chicken sheet pan.
I was working on the pins for that yesterday, and it looks so good.
It's just so tasty.
Yeah.
And, anyway, there's a few that I'm missing, but some of them are showing up here today, like chili. It's so nice to have chili in the freezer in the winter. You can do it for like a toboggan day, a ski day, or just because. And one of the things that I've recently started doing, we used to do it and then we got out of the habit, and now I've implemented it again, is doing like a family day on Sundays. So after church, we're having a bunch of our kids like come over. I mean, whoever wants to come can come, and we're having lunch. But the thing is, because we were at church, I want it to be something that can be done when I walk in the door. So
Something in the
last
slow
week
cooker.
we did the potato and chickpea tikka masala, because that I could do in the slow cooker before we left. The week before that, and then we just had it with naan, and it was really easy. Although my son's girlfriend does not like East Indian food.
Tell me that those aren't even looking.
They're beautiful.
I think I did a good job.
Great job.
Yeah. She doesn't like Indian food.
She does not like East Indian food, but I am slowly.
I didn't either when we first started this, and now I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I did with you. I'm like doing the gateway curries.
The butter chicken.
Yes.
It's a gateway curry, totally.
And like the chicken and a mango cream sauce.
Right.
Things like that. But anyway, this tikka masala was definitely not a gateway. So I made her I took one of the lazy chicken parmesan individual meals from my freezer and put it in the oven. And
Oh, you
it
made
for
her
her.
something separate?
Yeah.
You're such
And
a good almost mother-in-law.
she was happy with that, of course.
of course.
And but the week before, I did potato soup. We've got a really good potato soup. And so when I got home, I did have to run the immersion blender through it, but it was all cooked up and ready to have that happen. And then we topped it with, the green onions and the bacon, which I'd cooked ahead, and cheese. And then we also did like buns, and everybody could make their own kind of whatever they wanted on their buns. And so that's what we've had those weeks. But one of these weeks, it'll be chili, because that's so easy to just throw in the slow cooker before I leave. And then we can just have chili and buns when we get back. So yeah, it's actually been a really nice addition. And we always have been playing board games when they're all over. And last week, I think there were I think almost everybody came. So I can't do math. There's a lot of people. Maybe there were 11 of us. And so the board games, it's fun. We're a board game family. We play board games a lot, but our family's growing. And, spouses are coming into the mix here. And so one of the things we're realizing is that we don't have board games we can play with that many people. So if you have suggestions of board games that you can play with 8 people or more, can you pop them in the comments? Because we do have code names, and I think there's one called Renaissance that we've played with a large group, and then Mafia you can play with a large group. But other than that, we got nothing. So we usually have a few games on the go, which is fine, but sometimes it's nice to have something that everybody can participate in. So if you have suggestions, just pop them on down below. Okay, taco meat.
Are these
4, done. Those are yours. We don't have stickers for them because these are the ones that
They're
we're just
impromptu.
doing on the fly. Actually, everything from here on out is stuff we did not plan. Well, not really. I always have it in my head, if we buy a little bit more of this, because if you buy in bulk, sometimes you save a lot of money that way. So the next thing we are going to do is paneer. Second last.
What can I make then?
Oh yeah, you can do these.
I'll do the paneer.
So Christy and I took a field trip to Costco maybe a month ago. And they had the big giant Costco paneer, and we grabbed it.
Yes.
Because maybe it was 2 weeks ago. This morning in our prep, we cooked it up. So I just cubed it, and then I cooked it in butter, and I always put it on paper towel after, so that I get some of that butter off, so it's not too greasy. And then bagged it up so it's cool now, because you don't want things in your bags that are not cool, because then you'll get condensation in there, which will lead to your freezer burn too. And what we're doing is we are doing jarred sauces. So we've got 2 that are going to be a tikka masala, 2 that'll be a spicy butter, 1 that'll be regular butter chicken, and the 1 will be spicy butter chicken. It doesn't get much simpler than a jarred sauce, but it is a little bit of prep to cook up the paneer. And honestly, cutting paneer is not my favorite.
No, it's hard.
So it is hard. But anyway, and then I'm going to grab the rest of the chicken because I have a plan. I'm obsessed with this recipe. It's one of the recipes that I invented in 2014.
I thought of it yesterday because I saw the Orzo.
Yes, it's so good. And have you had it yet?
No.
No. So this is why I'm making it today, is because Christy has not gotten to have it.
And she raves about it.
And I hoard it because our little guy will eat it and I love it.
And the first time she made it, she texted me and was like, "This is so good. It's the best thing I've ever made." And then the very next day, she made it again so that she could have it again. And I still haven't had it, but I saw the Orzo at the store yesterday, and I'm like, I wonder if we're going to have the Orzo soon. I should mention it because I would like to try it.
So Christy's finally going to get to try this
Yay.
because I will make her some too. So depending on how much chicken we have, let's see. We have enough to make 2, so 1 each. So Christy's only going to get to try 1, but still,
I'm excited about it.
Okay.
And my son loves Marry Me Chicken. So sometimes people will make comments on things like, the butter chicken, or like here it's the paneer with the the butter chicken sauce. And they're like, what? You're just throwing a jar in on top of chicken? What is that? I'll tell you what that is. That is an excuse to not pick up the phone and order delivery. If you need something fast and inexpensive, and if you have it on hand, you will use it. And there are people that maybe can't put together a whole afternoon of being on your feet and doing prep and all of this. Like, this was 2 of us and it's taken several hours. Not everybody can do that, but somebody can manage chopping up some chicken or chopping up some paneer and putting it in with a jar of sauce. So it isn't gourmet, it's not super fancy, but it is flavorful, and it's in your freezer and you'll use it. That is the difference. So, you know, if you want to go ahead and make a tikka masala from scratch, you can go right ahead. If you want to make butter chicken from scratch, you go right ahead. But freezer meals are for everybody. And we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to make something with freezer meals. And that's one of the ways we can do it. That's why it's okay to put a jar of sauce in.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that potato chickpea tikka masala that I was talking about is from scratch.
Yeah.
That sauce is. And we could have gone ahead and made that same sauce just on paneer instead of peas and potatoes and chickpeas. But this is like, again, we're trying to race the clock right now. And we'll see. We've got 6 minutes.
Let's see. Challenge accepted. I don't know if I can do this in 6 minutes, but I'll try. And we had to open
I have to open another box of freezer bags here, and I don't know why, but it's not being cooperative.
And now I can't get this off the jar.
It's because
we're panicking. Ah.
It's like, oh no. Okay, so I know that I do have all the ingredients for this, I think. I say I know. I don't know. I think I have all the ingredients for this. Okay, I'm going to tell you what's going in here. Our cooked cube chicken, some garlic. Unfortunately, no onions because that would have been good.
Did you use all the onions?
No, but like it doesn't call for onions.
Oh, it doesn't call for onions.
No. Anyway,
do you have the tomatoes?
Sun-dried tomatoes, yep. Sliced sun-dried tomatoes, some paprika, oregano, pepper, chicken broth, heavy cream. I just grabbed from the fridge. And then in another bag, we're gonna put some Parmesan cheese because you stir that in towards the end. And your Orzo cooks up right in here. So I'll probably also measure out the Orzo and then put that in a quart-size bag, and then we can staple those bags on there so that everything is all in here for what we, for the day you go to cook it. And then, yeah, the Orzo cooks right up in the sauce. It's just so good. And then the cheese melts in there. It's like got all the good flavors, but I know you're sick of hearing me say this. You don't have to cut Orzo if you have a toddler. It is already in teeny tiny little pasta shapes. And so it kind of looks like rice,
It's
right?
practical.
It's practical. So, and I like it too. I like the texture of it.
I did too.
So
I haven't had it a lot.
Here we go. This is our one pot Marry Me Chicken Orzo.
I like the way you're moving. The mother boys don't have a clue.
Just say the words and I move how you want.
All right, so I had turned the camera off and then forgot to turn it back on, but Christy caught that. So all you missed is me putting sun-dried tomatoes in the bag. And what you missed before that, which was not that exciting, was us trying to find sun-dried tomatoes, which I did not have enough of, but I did have some. Because, of course, I did not plan to make Marry Me Chicken Orzo pasta today. So I did not have it on my shopping list. Because had I done the whole club meal plan, whatever, it just would have automatically spit it out on the shopping list. But now we're adding our paprika and then the oregano, So it's coming together. And Christy's paneers are looking lovely.
Lovely.
And we have done some math in the interim. Mm-hmm. So
did you see smoke coming out of the tops of our heads?
Pretty much. Math is not a strong suit for either of us. We're not afraid to admit that.
We own it. So tell us the math.
The math is that today in the afternoon because we did not start till noon. Because, you know, as we were saying earlier, it's been an eventful morning at Christy's house. We have put together in this big batch cooking 45 meals. So
Yes, we
we're
have.
very happy with that.
Very happy with that.
And even though we really only have like the 2 main proteins and then the paneer for one recipe, we still have a fair bit of variety. And these are a little bit more like family friendly and less like
Fancy.
than what we usually do. But still, these are gonna be just so nice to have. And I mean, there's a time and a place for family friendly.
It is true. So the book she picked, it's called Done and Dusted. I don't remember who it's by, but it's romance. But it was short, and we've never done a romance in our book club. And Charlotte's in the same book club as me, but she is so busy she doesn't really get to read the books with us. So she only comes when it's at my house.
Or when it's a book that I have
already
happened to
read.
have read already.
Which has happened a few times.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure you haven't read this one, or I'd have heard about it.
Nope.
And it's good. It started out really cute, and it's about this girl that is a barrel racer, and it's a cowboy story. What I didn't know was quite how spicy it was going to be.
Oh,
And
I see.
And this isn't something that we normally would read in our book club. Usually they are heavier topics, or you know, something that. And
Literature.
It's all literature. It's all women, so it's not a big deal. It's not like we're gonna have to like talk about, you know, that scene in the truck with like the men or anything. But yeah, I didn't know, and so I commented in the group, and I'm like, girls, this is a spicy book. And one of them, she goes, oh yeah, it's straight up filthy. And so I'm really we've been meeting for 2 years, I guess. Is that right? This is
I
our
think
second
it has
Christmas.
to be, yeah.
This is our second Christmas together. So it'll be
A year
2
and
years
a
in
half,
January.
maybe, yeah.
We started in January.
Oh, okay.
Because the one girl who organized it, she wanted to expand her circle of friends and was an introvert and was having a hard time doing it. So she created a book club to meet more people, and it's been really lovely.
And she's lovely.
She's lovely. And so we've gotten to know each other better as a group. So I think we can handle the subject matter, and it's going to be actually a lot of fun. But
It'll be a nice one for, you know, this time of year and just
Yeah.
kind of keep things lighter and all of that
I
stuff.
think it will be great. Yes. So anyway, lots of times I give you an update on the things we're talking about in book club. And today I'm just going to tell you, if you like that kind of story, you just go and pick it up.
Oh, did you say the name of it?
Oh yeah, it's called Done and Dusted.
Oh, yes, you did say
Yeah.
that. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right, I have to get my Parmesan cheese. For being like a very simple recipe, this has taken me a long time, but it's because I didn't have anything out. We always tell you, before you start assembling the recipe, you should get all of your ingredients out. And I didn't listen to my own advice because, again, we're panicking, like, oh, we've got 6 minutes, although we've had a little more than 6 minutes and he's not back yet. And so here I am trying to like quickly get this done.
All right.
And
Is it weird that it's called butter chicken paneer?
A little weird.
It is spicy butter chicken paneer.
Yep. That one's for my house, right?
Yes, it is. And these, it doesn't matter. They seem to have a similar spice level, so it's pretty funny.
And now that Christy
this
taught
one
me,
is 3, and this one's only 2. So I guess this one's for my house, and this one's for your house.
there you go.
I taught you what?
About keeping naan in your freezer, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
have it ready to go whenever you have something like your paneer or your potato chickpea tikka masala or whatever it is,
Guess who does not have paneer in her freezer right now?
or naan.
Sorry. I have paneer in my fridge. I do not have naan in my freezer. The Costco naan. I have like Walmart naan, and it's fine. But the Costco naan, you know, like you get the big stack. And it freezes beautifully. Okay, these are yours.
Stapler. Look at we are so close
I know,
to being
I'm just
done.
looking at the disaster that is this kitchen.
It is a disaster.
We have destroyed
We're going
this
to
kitchen.
we're going to take some video of how bad this kitchen is. And we don't normally,
Sorry,
and like we said, we usually assemble right into the bag. And when I show you how bad the kitchen is, you're gonna understand why we assemble right into the bag normally. But this was a lot of fun because we did things a little differently. And seriously, it's been a fun afternoon. And it's just an afternoon. And then we are set until the next time that we do a mega session, which you need to like and subscribe and sign up for notifications so that you can find out when that mega session is, because that's going to be like a lot of fun.
It really, really is. And you are going to see the amount of work that we have to do to clean up and stuff, but that's okay because we only have to do it once, right? We're not having to do this night after night after night, other than, oh no, I have to wash the frying pan.
Right.
But I don't have to wash a knife. I don't have to wash, okay.
That's probably a bad example.
It's a bad
It
example.
was a 2-ingredient thing, but you get what we mean. And the other thing is that, you know, yes, some of these are going to my kids. So let's say that we've really got, you know, like 42. So we've each got 21 meals. That means for 3 weeks, we don't have to run to the grocery store for dinner stuff. We don't have to think about like, what am I going to make for dinner today? For 3 weeks at both of our families.
3 solid weeks, 7 days a week.
We don't have to think about it. And these meals, again, we've already said they are not fancy like we usually do. Quite a few fancy. So tune in for the mega session for that. But they are like homey and great for this time of year and super family friendly. So I'm so happy with what we were able to get done today.
Me too.
I know that you can pull this off too. Do not let that pile of dishes intimidate you. It's worth it, even if the dishes you have to do over a couple of days as you rest.
It is worth it.
That was actually a lot of fun.
It really, really was. So, do you know what? I think we could have fun in a paper bag.
Yeah.
I think we probably could.
We can have fun with a paper bag.
We have totally had
a
fun.
Great game with a paper bag.
That is a game you can
called
play with 8 people.
The bag game, and I will actually put a link in the description to the bag game because I wrote about it, I took pictures of it. I have a good explanation of how to do this, and all you need is paper bag or a cereal box. Christy taught me the game. We have played it with like groups of people where there's like a mix of really young kids and grandparents
Everybody
and great
gets it.
grandparents.
Everybody understands immediately what the game is
Totally.
once you start doing it.
And we've done it with just adults, and we've done it like at kids' birthday parties. We did it at one of my daughter's sweet 16 party.
Oh yeah,
Like
it was
great
it's so fun.
game.
Great game.
So we really could have fun with paper bag. Let us know in the comments if you liked this style of video or if you prefer the other style of video, because in this one I already know that the audio might be a bit of an issue for some of you because we were talking as we were doing things, so there's going to be more crinkling and all of that, so that might be an issue. But maybe you liked getting to hear more of the banter and like what Christy and I normally talk about when we don't share the sound with you. You got to hear that today. So
The spicy books and the butter.
right? So let us know if you prefer that or if you want us to go back to the other way. We'll probably do a mix either way, but we just thought it'd be fun
We
to
enjoyed
try
this.
something new. Yeah.
I enjoyed this. It was fun.
It's definitely more casual than what we usually do, although we're always real.
Pretty casual.
Casual. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I hope this helps inspire you to get your meals in your freezer. Check out the links below to the recipes, to the Freezer Meals 101 Club, to the bag game, to the next live cooking class we're going to be doing. Check it all out. We are just really happy to have meals in our freezer again.
We're so happy to have meals in our freezer.
And happy that you joined us today. Happy cooking.
Bye.